Lower Shawneetown, also known as the Bentley Site, Shannoah and Sonnontio, is a late fort ancient culture era Madisonville horizon archaeological site overlain by an 18th-century Shawnee Village. It is located near South Portsmouth in Greenup County, Kentucky. It was added to the National Register of Historic Places on April 28, 1983. Between about 1735 and 1758, Lower Shawneetown became a center for commerce and diplomacy, a sort of republic populated by a diverse array of migratory peoples, from the Iroquois to the Delawares, and supplied by British traders. Lower Shawneetown had become a formidable threat to French ambitions, with a fairly large number of bad characters from various nations. Lower Shawneetown posed a significant challenge to France and Great Britain alike. The community was less a village and more of a district extending along the wide Scioto River and narrower Ohio River floodplains and terraces. It was a sprawling series of wicker-ups and longhouses. French and British traders regarded Lower Shawneetown as one of two capitals of the Shawnee tribe. The town was destroyed by floods in November 1758 and the population relocated to another site further up the Scioto River. Portsmouth Earthworks. Group A feature of the site is the Old Fort Earthworks, a part of the Portsmouth Earthworks known as Group A, built between 100 BCE and 500 CE by the Adena culture. The earthworks are a series of large rectangular enclosures connected to the main features of the group by an earthen causeway. Fort Ancient Settlement. The site is a 1.2-hectare village on the second flood terrace of the Ohio River, located across from the mouth of the Scioto River. It was excavated in the 1930s and was discovered to have had similar structures and building techniques as those found at another nearby fort ancient site. The Hardin Village site, located 13 kilometers up the Ohio, also found during the excavations, were distinctive Madisonville horizon pottery, including cord-marked, plain and grooved paddle jars, as well as a variety of chert points, scrapers and ceremonial pipes. Many 18th-century European trade goods were also found at the site, including gun spools and gun flints, gun parts, wire wound and drawn glass beads, tinkling cones, a button, pendants, an earring, cutlery, kettle ears, a key, nails, chisels, hooks, a buckle, a Jew's harp, and pieces of a pair of iron scissors. Shawnee Village, established in the mid-1730s at the mouth of the Scioto River. This was one of the earliest known Shawnee settlements on both sides of the Ohio River. The name of the town was not recorded, but scholars believe it may have been Charlegortha, a Shawnee word meaning principal place. Pressure from the growing European populations on the east coast of North America and in southern Canada had caused Native American populations to concentrate in the Ohio River Valley, and Lower Shawneetown was situated at a convenient point, accessible to many communities living on tributaries of the Ohio River. The area had Iroquois, Wyandot, and Miami communities within a few days' journey. The town also lay near the Seneca Trail, which was used by Cherokees and Catawbas, and it was surrounded by fertile, alluvial flatlands that were ideal for growing corn. Although mainly a Shawnee village, the population included contingents of Seneca and Lenape. The opportunity to trade for furs and to broker political alliances also attracted both British and French traders, and the town became a key center in dealings with other tribes and with Europeans before it was abandoned about November 1758. visits by French soldiers. Both the British and the French became increasingly concerned about the growing Native American settlements in the region, including Lower Shawneetown's neighbors Logstown, Pickawillany, and Sandusky. The earliest reference to it is in a July 27, 1734 letter by François-Marie Bisset, Sieur de Vincennes, describing an English trader's warehouse in the home of the Shawnees on the Ohio River. The French had focused much attention on Canada, allowing English traders to establish themselves in the Ohio Valley. But in the late 1730s the French began trying to correct this by sending expeditions into the region. The earliest eyewitness account is a report by Baron de Longueuil from July of 1739. A French military expedition made up of 123 French soldiers and 319 Native American warriors from Quebec, under the command of Charles III Le Moyne, was on its way to help defend New Orleans from the Chickasaw, who were attacking the city on behalf of England. While on the journey down the Ohio River towards the Mississippi, they met with local chiefs in a village on the banks of the Scioto. Concerned that this vibrant community would be readily influenced by trade goods supplied by the British, the governor of New France, Charles de la Boiche, Marquis de Beauharnois, sent emissaries to Lower Shawneetown in 1741 to try to persuade the Shawnees to relocate to Detroit. But the proposal was rejected. In the summer of 1749, Pierre-Joseph Saint-Laurent de Blainville moved down the Ohio River on his lead plate expedition, burying lead plates at 6 locations where major tributaries entered the Ohio. The plates were inscribed to claim the area for France. Saint-Laurent also sought out British traders and warned them to leave this territory which belonged to France. Hearing that a French military force was approaching, the inhabitants hastily erected a stockade and fired 3 shots at a delegation which reached the gates bearing a French flag. The Shawnees reluctantly opened the gates and invited Saint-Laurent to enter. He summoned the 5 Pennsylvania traders who were then living in the town, and ordered them to leave, but they refused. Saint-Laurent considered plundering the goods, but as he was confronted by a large and well-armed Shawnee force, he desisted and continued on his way. Peter Chartier. In April 1745, Peter Chartier and about 400 Shawnees took refuge in Lower Shawneetown after defying Governor Patrick Gordon in a conflict over the sale of rum to the Shawnees. Chartier opposed the sale of alcohol in Native American communities and threatened to destroy any shipments of rum that he found. He persuaded members of the Pequot Shawnee to leave Pennsylvania and migrate south. After staying in Lower Shawneetown for a few weeks, they proceeded into Kentucky to found the community of Escappacatheke. Visits by British traders William Trent established a storehouse in Lower Shawneetown sometime around 1734, and the Shawnees kept it secure in order to encourage further trade with the British. Between 1748 and 1751, the British traders Andrew Montour and George Croghan visited the town 3 times while attempting to strengthen the alliance between the Shawnees and the British government. In 1750, the Ohio Company hired Christopher Gist, a skilled woodsman and surveyor, to explore the Ohio Valley in order to identify lands for potential settlement. He surveyed the Kanawha region and the Ohio Valley tributaries in 1750 to 1751 and 1753. In January 1751, Gist, Croghan and Montour, accompanied by Robert Calendar, visited the town. Gist's journal entry from January 29, 1751, Tuesday 29, set out to the mouth of Scioto Creek opposite to the Shannoah town. Here we fired our guns to alarm the traders, who soon answered, and came and ferried us over to the town. The land about the mouth of Scioto Creek is rich but broken fine bottoms upon the river and Amp Creek. The Shannoah town is situated upon both sides the river Ohio, just below the mouth of Scioto Creek, and contains about 300 men. There are about 40 houses on the east side of the river and about 100 on the N side, with a kind of state house of about 90 feet long, with a light cover of bark in which they hold the councils. The journal terminates with a detailed description of a festival just witnessed during his stay in Lower Shawneetown. As a community of 300 men, the town may have had a total population of between 1,200 and 1,500. The town consisted of 40 houses on the Kentucky side and 100 houses on the Ohio side, including a 90 feet long council house. The Shawnee had relocated part of the village on the east bank of the Scioto River and on the Kentucky side of the Ohio River after a flood destroyed much of the original village, which had been situated on the Scioto River's west bank. Captives. At least 2 captives taken during raids on American pioneer settlements are known to have lived in Lower Shawneetown. Catherine Guga was kidnapped in 1744 from her home in Berks County, Pennsylvania, and lived in the town for 5 years. She was eventually sold to French-Canadian traders and after 2 more years in Canada, managed to return home in 1751. Mary Draper Ingalls was kidnapped during the Draper's Meadow Massacre in July 1755 and taken to Lower Shawneetown, but she escaped in mid-October with another woman and walked several hundred miles to return to her home. Destruction. Charles Augustus Hale states that in about November 1758, a very extreme, if not unprecedented, flood in the rivers swept off a greater part of the town, and it was never rebuilt at that place, but the tribe moved its headquarters up the Scioto and built up successively the old and new Chillicothe, or Chaloco, the towns. The remainder Shawnee Village at the mouth of the Scioto, which was then built upon the other side, the present site of the city of Portsmouth. When Mary Jemison, a captive of the Seneca, spent the winter at the mouth of the Scioto River in 1758 to 1759, she reported that Lower Shawneetown had been abandoned and relocated further up the Scioto River. It is possible that this new village was Charlegotha at the site of present-day Chillicothe, Ohio.